I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ha, Rakah, Quadash, double honors unto our apostle elders, which rule great millstone well, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abba. So this is Psalm 17, verse 1, a prayer of David. I'm going to go down to 13. It says, "Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him." So this is a prayer of King David. Arise, O Yahweh. Yahweh is the heavenly Father. Disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is the so-called white race, the red devil the Bible speaks of, which is thy sword. All right, so what I Googled was the atrocities of the so-called white race, all right? Which you can see in these images in the past times, they tortured our people. All right, and they tortured our people and they celebrated it. All right, which they're doing now. They're going back to these old ways, just as it was prophesied in Wisdom of Solomon 2, that when they realized that they had but a short time, they would begin to come down with great wrath, knowing that they had but a short time. All right? And this is why you're seeing Jake being hanged in parks. All right, when I say Jake, I'm referring to Jacob, the Israelite, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian. All right, we are the biblical Hebrew Israelites. All right, and the devil, the sword of the Lord, the wicked. All right, they're coming down with great wrath, knowing that they have but a short time. And as you can see, their skin is red. It's not white. They have white collars. It does not blend in with their collar. Their skin is red. All right. So it says, and they're still doing these atrocities. All right. I'll show you. All right. We don't do animal sacrifices anymore. All right. Revelation 14:1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name and his son's name written in their foreheads. And the reason it says lamb is because Yahweh Shai is our ultimate sacrifice. All right, which I looked it up, red heifer. Okay, I know the video was paused while I was going through this. I thought I unpaused it, but it was paused. It says Numbers 19:2 is the only one that really deals with sacrificing a red heifer without spot. All right, which this was in the time of Moses and Aaron, which we don't sacrifice no more. We don't sacrifice animals. We are the living sacrifice. And once you touch us, it's going to be your ass, Esau. Let me get Hebrews 12. It's at Romans 12. I always get these two mixed up. Romans 12. It says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh through Yahweh Shai, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto our power, which is your reasonable service. All right? So this is what we're supposed to do. This is the service that we're to do. And the Israelites that understand that, all right, they're going to cleave to the house of Jacob through that. Isaiah 14:1, for Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, which have been scattered throughout the world in slavery, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, which are Israelite foreigners. They shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Once again, the small hats are not cleaving to the house of Jacob. In fact, they're committing atrocities. All right? So this is what the word atrocity says it means. An atrocity is a cruel, brutal, and shocking act often involving violence and suffering. It can refer to a specific event, to the general state of being extremely cruel and wicked, or wicked, which that's what they are. They're extremely cruel and wicked. Look what they're doing in Gaza. Look what they're doing to the Israelites here in America. All right? They're extremely cruel. All right? All right. So I put torture weapons from Renaissance, because the Renaissance is the rebirth of the so-called white race. In the Dark Ages, they pretty much were put out of the community. They became like pretty much cavemen in Europe throughout into the Caucasus Mountains. That's why they have the name Caucasian. It means cavemen. All right. But the torture weapons that they created, see, they could come up with these things because they're the sword, they're the weapon of mass destruction. This is why they have the nuclear missile. Look at how perverted this thing is. They stick that up a woman's privates or in your ass, and then they open it. Even your mouth, put it in your mouth. Look at this one. See, these are cruel. All right? And it was developed in the Renaissance, the rebirth of the so-called white race. And they were doing this stuff to us back even in the past. Look at Nero, which Trump is Nero. All right? And they used to burn Israelites on the stake. All right? Who did these things? The so-called white race, the red devil the Bible speaks of. They are the sword of the Lord. And this is what King David was talking about in the scriptures, all right? In Psalm 17 and verse 13, arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, because they really want to murder us. Cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. This is why they developed these weapons. It says, from men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, from men of the world which have their portion in this life, which they don't care about the afterlife, and whose belly thou filleth with thy hid treasure, they are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I wake, and thy likeness, with thy likeness, which we're hoping to be like Yahweh Shai. We don't want to be like Esau. All right? We're being converted from being like Esau. Now, I wanted to get the poor man is better. All right, so I pulled it up. It says it occurs twice in the scriptures. It says Proverbs 19 and 22, the desire of a man is his kindness, and a poor man is better than a liar, and the so-called white race is a goddamn liar. Then said, and how do we know they're liars? What were the images that they put up and told us to worship? This false image, which you call Jesus Christ, which is of Serapis Christo, all right? And he's reincarnated today as David Rothschild, all right? See? So we're better than these liars that are trillionaires, that have armies and militaries to persecute us, all right? We're better. It says in Ecclesiastes 9, verse 16, then said I, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard. The words of wise men are heard in quiet, more than they cry of him that ruleth among fools. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroyeth much good. And that's why the Lord's going to get rid of the 2/3. It tells you in Second Ezra, let's see, 15, and it's like 24. Yep, 24. Woe to them that sin, talking about the Israelites that are given to willful sin, and keep not my commandments, and they don't care about the word of the Lord. Saith the Lord, I will not spare them. Go your way, ye sons. From the power defile not my sanctuary. For the Lord knoweth all them that sin against him, and therefore delivereth he them unto death and destruction. So this is what's going to happen to the wicked and them that do wickedly. Malachi 4, verse 1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. What's going to burn them up is that missile that he gave them. That was the Lord that gave him the idea for the nuclear missile. And that's what he gave it to him for, is to destroy themselves. It says in Isaiah 54, verse 16, Behold, I have created the smith, which is the Edomite, the so-called Caucasian, a weapon of mass destruction, that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy, which he's going to destroy his own kingdom. If you notice, Edomites commit suicide. See, and that's why you have this energy in the earth. It says rates of suicide by firearm among non-Hispanic white individuals. But again, they're not white like the background of this image. They're red like a pig. In the United States, it says based on data from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, and other sources, the rate of suicide by firearm among non-Hispanic, so-called white individuals in the United States has shown both increased and decreased over time, but generally remains higher than other ethical racial groups. See? Why? Because they're the wicked. And they were given the sword, and they're going to destroy themselves with their own sword, just like that nuclear missile. All right? With that, I give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Ha-Rekakwadash, double honors unto our apostle elders, which rule great millstone while, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abba.